Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks Sunday Stream of Consciousness. Sorry about that. Every time I'm on my iPad, I have a little trouble getting the show started, but we're remote from Colchester, Connecticut today, as we had to run some. I had to drive a U-Haul down here, 2.5, almost 3 hours yesterday, to my stepson and his fiance's new home here in Colchester, and we stayed the night. We got to go to a tasting for their wedding today, so we're gonna have lots going on. So hopefully the feed is good. It appeared I thought I was having some problems this morning. I did a test and I could not play it back, but apparently the feed is okay, as I was just on the National Streaming Sports Big Football Show, so everything went well there. Want to welcome everybody watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Certainly the groups that allow me to share. You can, I guess you can't see them streaming. Can I make them stream or scroll, I should say? Hang on one second. Let's see if we can do this. There we go. You can see them scrolling at the bottom of the screen. John Gonzalez at Support Authorities, Greg Rawlings at America's Pastime, Love Baseball, Let's Talk Sports, Flo and the gang over at Bottom Line Sports, who do their podcasting on Let's Talk Sports. Who else? Ken Krause over at Golf Bud Sports of All Sorts. Certainly a quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Ocean City now, Ocean City, Maryland. Pittsburgh focused, but a national footprint, if you will. Happy to guest from time to time on the Sports Corner from Tuesdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. He does that with Smoking Jim Frazier. Today, guys, I'll get to your comments in just a second. Hopefully I'll have you guys helping me as you always do on Sunday, as it's been a busy weekend and I'm trying to get myself caught up. So a little bit of preseason football. I'm sure there'll be a lot of overreaction to some of the plays, and we can talk this morning about the importance and what I think should be happening in preseason football games that doesn't. We saw some good things. Shooter Sanders was important yesterday. I think for some of the bad teams, winning games and getting used to winning games is important. But I don't think we play the starters, and I don't think NFL teams, as a rule, are using the preseason to get ready to play real football games. But we can talk about any of that went on yesterday. Tom Brady got his statue and had a great line about the Jets. We can talk about that. I'm not crazy about the statue itself. It's a little bland. I think they could have made it a little more animated, if you will. I guess that's a bit of a misnomer. How can a statue be animated, right? But lots of other stuff we can talk about there. In baseball, the Yankees actually get a win yesterday, but still not playing great baseball. The Mets lose. They're 6 in a row. The Brewers keep rolling. The Dodgers starting to get their act together a little bit. Mookie Betts, I know, with a big home run the other night to win a game. Little League World Series is getting started this weekend. Oh, by the way, in professional baseball, Mo Rivera tears his Achilles in an old-timers game. Are we going to have an outcry now to eliminate old-timers games? He's a 55-year-old guy. Stuff happens. You know, I did it at 48, and I wasn't playing baseball. Stuff happens. That's all. Jen, what's her name? Oh, God, I can't read her name. Jen can't read my writing, and I don't want to mispronounce her name. Powell? What's Powell? I think you'd pronounce it Powell. Was the first woman umpire in Major League Baseball. And I think that's a wonderful thing. Those of you who think I have a problem with women, I do not. I just say they can't compete against men. She did umpire at first base on Friday night. She did third base yesterday, probably second base in the second game with that doubleheader Friday. And she'll be behind home plate today. And listen, the men have been so bad this year. I'm sure she can be an improvement over a lot of them. Ichiro gets his number retired by Seattle. Seattle's still playing well, by the way. 6 in a row. They're only a half game behind the Astros right now. I told you to watch them. Machado tries a hidden ball trick, and it goes horribly wrong, and they gives up a run on that. So again, lots of stuff to talk about. Ryder Cup, we're coming close to it at the end here, by the way. Still, sex toys being thrown on the court of WNBA games. Come on, guys, can you stop, please? Anyway, let's see who's out here with us this morning, and let's get started with your comments. And let me know how the feed is, by the way. I know some of you sometimes will tell me it's bad, and others will say it's good when I'm remote like this. But it seemed to be fine on um, the last show I was on uh, before this. And it's weird. I just can't seem to play stuff back um, on my iPad. I don't know why. So I couldn't really tell whether my test this morning went well. CA, good. Oh, where are you? Is it up there? Okay. We always have a delay now. I did change the bubble effect or make it a bubble effect for the comments so that we have long ones. You guys don't see my whole face disappear anyway. Good morning, CA. Good to have you with us. Great job with the football, by the way, CA, the fantasy football. We're full with 16 teams, and I think 16 teams that will be um, fully invested in having some fun and getting some bragging rights. So good job there, CA. I want to give you a shout out. Guys, I think this week I'll get started. If you still want to do our pick'ems, we'll do an NFL pick'em. We'll do a college pick'em. I think that's what we did last year, and I believe we did it with no points. You guys can comment on how you'd like to see that go. And somebody that are new to the show, hopefully you'll join us in. JB, we have a little delay in my comments coming up. Good morning, JB. Good to have you with us. As always, check out JB's Back It Up Binge podcast. Does some great interviews. Picked up my mantle as I haven't done an interview now in quite a few months, and we'll see how that goes here the next several months after we're retired in just 18 days. Trying to get the next one up. Hello, Chris F. Grave up in Ontario. How are you? Longtime Tiger and former Met Yankees. Did Tom Brookins play with? I don't remember him with the Yankees. That's interesting. This is a guy. Excuse me. This is a guy who played like every position on the field. He played some outfield. He played every position in the infield. He caught. The only thing he didn't do for the Tigers was pitch. I don't remember him being with the Yankees. That's interesting. It couldn't have been for long, Chris. He was with the Tigers a long, long time. Part of that 1984 World Championship team, I believe, too. Rick Sherlock, good morning to you. Good job out of your Vikings yesterday. If we get excited about preseason football, and you guys can talk to me about your feelings about the way teams approach preseason. To me, and Rick, and others in this situation, you can comment. If you've got a rookie quarterback or rookie wide receivers, they need to be getting reps in games, not playing one series and sitting down. And teams don't actually spend preseason games getting ready to play real games. And that's why we see so much bad football in September, as I've gone on and on about forever, it seems. But love to get your guys' opinions on that and anything. By the way, guys, remember, this is your show. I threw out a few things that I jotted down this morning, but this is certainly your show, and you get to, well, for the most part, drive the train. Good morning, Michael Gott over in the UK. How are you, my friend? Hopefully you'll be in our pick'em pool this year, maybe both college and pros. I'll get that posted, and I'll put the links up on my personal page and on the TGI Sports Talk page. We'll end up with a few people. We don't know who they are and whatnot, because I try to get as many people as we can. But I'd love to see everybody who got into fantasy football get into the pick'em. It'd be really a lot of fun. JB says, talking about football, my next episode premieres Wednesday at 8 p.m. We'll be talking with Mark Duper. Great get right there. Legendary Dolphin receiver. The Mark and Mark show. Mark Clayton, Mark Duper. Great wide receivers in the 80s with Dan Marino. Unfortunately, no Super Bowls. Maybe their biggest claim to fame was in 1985, knocking off the undefeated Chicago Bears on Monday night. I think I want to say week 15. I think or maybe it was week 14. The Braves were either 13. The Bears were either 13-0 or 14-0 when that was happening. So good stuff there. Really good stuff, JB. Congratulations, and we'll check that out. Happy to share any of those. I got to get back to where I was here. Happy to share any of those to my site if you, or to my page if you ever want to do that, JB. Just get me a link. I'll be happy to share. The Saskatchewan Rough Riders are 7-1. Isn't that where Flutie didn't? Well, Flutie played a couple of different places, but I think he played in Saskatchewan, didn't he, when he was up there? You know, I used to watch some Canadian football back in the day when Warren Moon was there, and a lot of NFL players would go up there to play. Tom Cousineau, I remember, opted to play there out of college instead of going to the Bills originally. Vince Ferragamo, if you remember, went up there. I think after his really good run with the Rams, getting them to a Super Bowl, losing to the Steelers, there were some good players. I've gotten away from it the last few years. A decade probably, but I've always enjoyed it. Good morning, Drew. Good to have you with us. He welcomes all the Englites. That sounds a bit biblical, doesn't it? Which is a bit ironic. But good morning to you, Drew. Good to have you with us. Could have been worse. He could have looked like Dwayne Wade. It could have looked like Dwayne Wade. I don't know. I think I'm missing something there. Got to be something I missed. Michael Dilton. Come on. Michael Dilton Edwards is with us. Michael, you write some great stuff, and I love the little soliloquy you sent this morning via Messenger. Listen, still happy to post any of that stuff to my page you want. You'll get some more exposure. Always happy to help out somebody like yourself. Some great writing there. I'm telling you, really good stuff. Anyway, women have done a great job in football, soccer, and basketball. Don't see why they can't officiate Major League Baseball. I agree 100%. I know there was a lot of, and good morning to you again, Michael. There was a lot of chatter, especially in the NFL when women first started getting involved. They were too big. They were going to get hurt. They get involved in scuffles and whatnot. And I don't think there's ever been a major incident. I can't even remember there being an egregious, mistake by a woman official. I'm sure there were. But as far as Major League Baseball goes, I would have thought it'd be the first one because it's so easy. I shouldn't say it's easy. I would think compared to being an NFL official or even a basketball official, it's a bit easier physically, unless you're out there for 20 innings in 100-degree heat. But I think she'll do well. If you've seen how the men have done this year, listen, if I can get women umpires in there and they can call balls and strikes and I don't have to have freaking AI technology doing it, I'm more than happy to take all the women that you want. Listen, my problem with let me go back to this 1 second. We've had a lot of debate on this show about women in sports. And listen, my arguments have never been about women being competent and being able to play sports or officiate sports in this case. My argument has been, in officiating, this is not the same thing. Women can compete and do as well as men, without a doubt. But the best women in the world can't beat, the mediocre men in men's sports. They just can't, going head to head. It just can't happen. I think this is it's not even debatable. Well, that's interesting. I don't know much about SummerSlam. And so wasn't this over a couple of nights, by the way, a couple of days? I know Brock Lesnar. I know the name. I don't follow wrestling anymore. We talked a lot on the Jack and Keith's Weekend Playbook show, which, by the way, will be live tomorrow morning. Jack's on vacation this week, so I'll be going solo. And I may be putting the link in the chat tomorrow morning so some of you guys can come in and share your thoughts on whatever topic we might be talking about or whatever you might be interested in. But as far as wrestling goes, I just haven't been as interested the last couple of decades. Back in the 80s, we just used to go all the time. We go up to Glens Falls Civic Center all the time. Anytime there was an event there, when they started coming into the Knickerbocker or whatever they were calling it at the time, Pepsi, Times Union, whatever, we would go there as well. But Glens Falls was just such a cool place for these wrestling events. And then we'd see some of them out afterwards, and we had a lot of fun. But I haven't followed it a lot lately. Jack and I did talk a lot about it when Hulk Hogan died here a few weeks ago. But still, listen, it's one of the big drawing events in I was going to say sports. It's debatable whether it's a sport or entertainment, or is it both? Great debate question, right? You got to be athletic to do the things that they do. Good morning, Drew, again. C.D. Lamb is inactive and still manages to draw a penalty for having physical contact with an official. Not oops. Get the frick out of the way. What are you doing? Again, it's only an exhibition game, so it's not a big deal. But if you're not wearing a uniform, actually, if you're wearing a uniform on the sideline, you don't get involved in the game. I saw that. It was pretty stupid. I was going to bring it up in my opening comments, and I didn't. That's some very interesting stuff there. By the way, Ohtani got to 40 home runs this week, too, pitching more and more and more. Something to keep an eye on as the season goes on. And those Mariners are getting healthy. They're going to get Bryce Miller back. Their other pitchers are starting to pitch better, and I think they're going to start to really good. This is a good one. I did have this written down, and I did not. Probably one of the things I could not read. I gave James Cook some props because he didn't hold in. He actually came to camp and participated for the first week. He participated fully in OTAs. He might have only participated a couple of days in camp. Well, I'm sure we'll hear more about this on Hard Knocks this week. If you're not watching it, Buffalo Bills are the team that is being spotlighted. Look, I feel the same way that I feel about all of these guys. They have a contract. You should fulfill your contract. You should play. The Bills wanted him to play yesterday, and he wouldn't suit up. Any of these guys, whether it's him, whether TJ Watt now has signed, Hendrickson, I don't know what his situation was yesterday, but if you're not practicing and you're not working out with your team and you've got a legal contract, I was worried about this sun coming in causing an issue. I may have to move around the corner here at some point. We'll see. It's not okay. You can renegotiate. You can say, I want a new contract. You can say whatever you want. But you damn well better fulfill the contract I'm giving you. I wouldn't be paying any of these guys. I'm sorry. Their pay would be withheld. You don't have to participate, but I don't have to pay you either. This is, again, in football, it's a little bit different, right? They don't have as much money guaranteed. Their careers are shorter than baseball per se. But I don't feel any differently here. As a rule, I mean, there's some instances where I might waver a little bit, right? But I don't feel a lot different here than I feel about baseball players who sign long-term contracts and then they want to opt out or have opt-outs several times because they know that contract will be obsolete. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of these hold-ins. How is that different than a holdout? Just because you showed up, you didn't work. You're still holding out on me and participating and helping get ready for the long season ahead. Two-time Stanley Cup champion Kyle Clifford retired after being an assistant captain with the Toronto Marlies, highly respected. He was immediately given a position in player development with the Leafs. Well, good for him. He didn't win any Stanley Cups with the Maple Leafs, that's for sure. Where do you win his Stanley Cups? Because I don't know him right off the bat, and I can't really look stuff up today. So, where am I? How did I get ahead? Or am I just going? I get screwed up with the comments here, too. It's a little. There's Paul Spada. Good morning, Paul. Good to have you with us. Just lost my comments. There we go. Good to have you with us this morning, Paul. Michael Gott. On the Jack and Keith show, I touched on veteran quarterbacks for this season. Which one will be the most effective and which will have the most support around them. I don't recall the specific conversation, Michael. Jack and I kind of get all over the board sometimes, but if we're talking about, there's two different, as far as veteran quarterbacks, right? We've got guys who are in the upper echelon of quarterbacks, and Joe Burrow is one of my favorites. If you didn't watch Quarterback on Netflix, go watch it. Joe Burrow's a really interesting cat, I got to tell you. But if we're talking about guys like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, guys who are kind of moving around and filling positions. Listen, I like what Justin Fields did. And again, I'm not putting too much stock in preseason games, don't get me wrong, but I think what you saw out of their first drive yesterday was what Aaron Glenn wants. And you saw what Justin Fields can bring to this team. I've been a fan of Justin Fields for a while. I think and at times he's flashed some brilliant athletic ability, and at times he showed his faults. But he's a guy, I think, there's some weapons around him in my mind. I like Hall in the backfield. I love Wilson at wide receiver. They have, who's on the other side now? I'm forgetting. And the Jets have a really good defense. I mean, I think they finished third in the East, second or third. I'm not sure where I'm going with the Patriots and the Jets just yet. And I'm impressed with what the Patriots did as well. But again, preseason, so we're not going to the Super Bowl. Shooter Sanders had a great game the other day. I think that's an important thing, by the way. Because if he had fallen on his face, because listen, I'm on record as telling you that Shooter Sanders was not a top 10 pick. But Shooter Sanders is also not a 5th round pick. Shooter Sanders will be, if he's given the opportunity, a decent player in this league, probably for a long time, barring injury. And I think yesterday was a good step for him. I know he's playing against guys who'll be riding a garbage truck in 3 weeks, but he needed to go out there and play well. Because if he'd fallen on his face, it would just give more fodder to the people who just hate him for whatever reason. I'm not saying I love him. I'm not saying I love his attitude. I'm telling you the guy can play football. That's all I'm telling you. Is he going to be Lamar Jackson? No. Is he going to be Josh Allen? No. But there's a lot of productive quarterbacks in the league that are not named those guys who have also been productive and actually played well in big games. Birthdays today: Anthony Banda, no idea. Archie Bradley, a pitcher who never quite got it. Anthony Goss, whose name, boy, tough this morning. I think Goss was a pitcher. Wilson Ramos, probably wrong. Obviously, catcher. Dan Johnson, Brandon Lyons, interesting. Sal Fasano, another workhorse catcher. Former Yankee Gerald Williams, Al Osuna, pitcher. Andy Stankiewicz, another Yankee utility guy for a long while. Also played with the A's, I believe. Rocky Calavito. Wasn't it Rocky Calavito that was involved in the only HR champion, the trade for of a batting champion for an HR champion when he was traded for Harvey Keene? I think I'm right there. Bob Porterfield, Willie Wells. Man, there's a lot of guys I just cannot bring up this morning. And household names: Taffy Wright, Ed Wineapple, and Truck Egan. I'm going to have to move around the corner here in a second, guys, because I'm having trouble seeing the screen. But we'll get there. Kyle Clifford, L.A. Kings. Nice. There you go. Thanks for that update, Michael. Let's Drew got here. No matter how Sanders does, he can't be worse than the massage molester. Well, listen, whatever I think of the massage molester, whose name does not get mentioned on the show, at one time he was a very, very good quarterback. He's just a horrible person and not the type of character that you want leading your football team. And the Browns made a stupid move there. Hello, Danny Fuller out on the West Coast. Good to have you with us early this morning. Sanders will be a good backup. It's possible he'll be a backup. I still think, again, I don't think it's going to happen right away, and I don't necessarily think it'll happen in Cleveland. I think he'll get a chance to be a starter in this league at some point. Again, backup, starter, as long as you're a productive guy and listen. There's two. To me, there's two classifications of backups in this league. There's backups who, if you put them in, have to put them in the game because you have a season-ending injury to your quarterback, your season's not over. And then there's the guy who, if you put him in, it doesn't matter who it is because your season's over. I don't think Sanders will be one of those guys. I think Sanders will be productive. If he's a backup, then he's a guy you won't be afraid to put in the game. And if he's a starter, listen, the guy can be what we like to call a game manager, right? Shadir's his own worst enemy. I've said this for a long time, and I'm not here just blowing, the trumpet for him. He's not a fifth-round draft pick. There's a lot of teams will be upset that they did not pick Shadir Sanders. Should he have been a top 10 pick? Should he have been a late first-round pick? Maybe not. But he likely should have gone in the second round. He likely should have gone before Dylan Gabriel and some other quarterbacks that got drafted. And we'll find out. That's why we play the games. Dart will be the big name in 2 to 3 years from now. I agree. This guy's got all the tools. He needs to be refined a little bit. He did throw a great touchdown pass yesterday. I think the big problem with the Giants in this situation, Danny, is they've got two guys in Dabo and Shine who have to be somewhat successful this year. And I'm not telling you they're making the playoffs. I'm not making that mistake again. And John Mara hasn't told them what successful means. There's no number of wins. There's no make the playoffs or you're fired. So my question is, it's going to be a mark of their character to see how they deal with this quarterback situation and some others. Their job is to do what's best for the organization. When you're trying to save your job, human nature is, I'm going to do what's good for me. And I don't want to see them play Jackson Dart too soon. But if he's ready to play, I want him to get out there and play. So we'll see how that goes. But I do like what I see in him, and I loved him at Ole Miss, as you know. Michael, I respect and love your ability to recall stuff. It used to be a lot. There used to be a lot more recall, Michael. As I've approached my 65th time around the sun here, I sometimes forget. I test myself when Drew brings up the birthdays, and today was one that I didn't remember hardly any of them. Well, you're 80 years old. That's why you can't remember what color shirt you're wearing unless you look. I still haven't gotten an honest answer on how old you are, Michael. Told me 80, and then I saw a picture. You look like you're in your, I want to say, I don't want to say. I could offend you. I don't want to do that. But thank you. Again, my recall is sometimes much better. that it is. It depends on the day. I'm telling you. Uh, Anthony was a poor hit, great outfielder who was converted relief pitcher to try to keep his career going. Interesting. Who we got here? Okay, switch to YouTube. What is that? I'm not sure what that's about there. I have no idea. But welcome, Lope. Um, or maybe we're talking about some of my problems with Facebook at times, right? Listen, when I retire, we are going to figure out YouTube. Not going to leave my Facebook people behind. But right now, I put all my energies into views and followers on Facebook, and all they do is jerk me around right and left and change crap around. I know. Look, I'm not paying them anything, so I'm not trying to be unreasonable here, but we're going to find a way to maximize YouTube because if there's ever money to be made on this show, it's going to be on YouTube. But I don't know how to. I don't know how to get the. I can't share the show to the groups that I share to, like on Facebook, and get the same. Get That's where we get our views. We get we'll get done with this show with 100 views, or usually it's 100 to 200 views while we're live. But once we share it, now we're going to 2 or 3 thousand views, 1,500 at a minimum. So we got to do that. We got to figure that out. And it depends. Sometimes we won't get as many views because Facebook will let me share to 10 groups instead of 100. Anthony Banda was a journeyman. He must have been. Love that word and its implications, right? Relief pitcher with 8 teams in 9 years. I think that speaks for itself. I thought that was you, Paul. We'll get to that in a second. Miguel Sano was one of the last players that had a 500-foot home run. Didn't he get in some serious trouble off the field shortly after that 500-foot home run? You know, here's the thing. Everybody gets excited. Yeah, it's great to see long home runs, right? But would you rather have Dave Kingman up hitting, these monster shots, or Henry Aaron? I feel like every highlight of a Henry Aaron home run I saw just cleared the fence. But he did 755 times, and he is a real HR champion in my mind. But listen, 500 feet is a feat. I always love it when they do these estimates, right? Like when Mickey Mantle hit one um, that hit the facade, and they said it would have gone 660 feet. Well, how do you know that? Long home runs are fun. And there's Paul. Oh, Paul switched to YouTube. Okay. Were you having connection problems? You're one I know that when I've gone remote, you've said that I've kind of had buffering issues, but um, usually I see it on my end when I'm streaming, but haven't seen any today. You guys can tell me whether it's good or bad. I'm having trouble reading. I'm going to have to move around the corner here. Never understood the concept or purpose of what? This thing about, I don't know what the. Yeah, I never got it either. I think it's more for like aesthetics, where you can kind of hang things, and they've got lights. I mean, they didn't do this. This was obviously here when they bought it. But I would have. I never get these either, quite frankly. Um, it's nice out here. It was beautiful out here last night when we sat, but it's useless really, like in the hot sun or in rain. But there's certainly, whatever. I think it's more of an aesthetic thing that people want. I wouldn't do it either. Either leave it uncovered or cover it. Uh, Michael. just wondered if you ever watched, followed, or covered the Canadian Football League. What are your thoughts? Would you watch it? I could go back, and I think I mentioned earlier, Michael, and maybe you weren't here yet. I used, or maybe I'm late to the comments. What time? 9:03. How far behind am I? I'm only 4 minutes behind. That's pretty good. Um, I enjoyed the Canadian Football League for a lot of years when I was younger. As I said, when a lot of NFLers or sometimes future NFLers or guys went straight up there, like Tom Cousineau, I mentioned, a great linebacker, I want to say out of Nebraska, got drafted in the first round by the Bills, but decided to go play in Canada. He eventually ended up with the Bills. Vince Ferragamo played out his contract with the Rams and went to play with the Alouettes. Warren Moon, famously in the Hall of Fame, famously undrafted in the NFL and was just a tremendous, maybe the best player ever in the CFL up in Edmonton. Doug Flutie, when he washed out with the NFL the first time around, he had played for the Bears and the Patriots, and he went up there and set the world on fire. I enjoyed the game then, and somehow I got away from it. I mean, it's played in the summer, and baseball's going on, and I guess other things. It gets busy in the summer, and I just didn't, keep up with it. I enjoyed it while I was there. I think that the bigger field. It's interesting to watch it, all the men in motion, and the wider field, the Rouge. I was never a big fan of the Rouge. I don't know how you get a point just missing a field goal, but I like it, Michael. No, I just wanted to see different. Cool. It's a same show wherever you go, unless they're inserting ads, and if they are, let me know because they owe me money. Chris says with 500 home runs, you still get your kid to take their glove to the game and save money in the cheap seats. Well, you're not going to get many chance out there, though. We were looking for Patriot tickets yesterday, and cheap seat tickets are like $300 top row in Gillette. When we had our season tickets in the 80s for 9 or 10 years, the most we paid for an entire season was $280 for 10 games. Of course, that was 40 years ago, I have to remember. And we were sitting on metal bleachers. And I got to tell you something. It was the most fun I ever had. Ever. Anthony. Oh, wait a minute. How come you didn't come up here? Anthony, how are you, my friend? That's our last comment coming up for a little bit. That dollar sign. What happens when I hit this dollar sign? Nothing. Oh, we'll see what it says here. New to streaming, looking to level up. Check out StreamYard and get a 10-yard. Oh, I see. Sorry, I didn't mean to put that in there. Oops, where'd you go, Anthony? I lost your comment. Come on, where'd your comment go, Anthony? Bear with me, my friend. There we go. How do I feel about the NFL? All right, guys, we're back. I apologize. My iPad heated up too much and it kicked me out. So we're going to have to finish up here. I don't know. We might have to have a little shortened version today. So where did Anthony's comment go here? Bear with me. I'm trying to get to the comments. That's not working. Let me just do it this way. See what? There we go. At least I get the comments this way. So anyway, won't be our best. It won't be our best aesthetically, but whatever. We're here. I'm going to get back to your comment, Anthony. I promise you. The challenges of working remotely. What the hell's going on? All right, I think we're there. How do I feel about the line? I don't like it. I think you guys know about my feelings about AI and computers and robot umpires, robot referees. I don't like it. Human error is part of sports. If it's part of it's part of the entire game. It's part of the one team. It's part of the other team. The referees are involved in that same game, and their own human error is part of it. If referees can't do it, get better referees. I don't like it. I hate it. I hate it. The more and more we start to proliferate sports with robo calls and AI and all this other nonsense. Again, it's showing how old I am. I know that. I'm not embarrassed by my comments. I'm not ashamed of my comments. I think it's bad for sports because it all gets bastardized, right? We put instant replay into baseball to call home runs fair or foul, or went over a line or didn't. And now it's used when a guy takes his foot off the back bag for a millisecond and a guy's holding a glove on him and nobody saw it, but we go replay it and he's out. That's not what it's meant for. And football, I mean, it was put in to determine touchdowns. Now it's used to determine 12 men on the field. Did a guy get off the field fast enough? I mean, that's just nonsense. We don't need it for that stuff. So there, I guess that'll tell you how I feel about it. Let me skip this stuff here. Drew, what do you got? I got to do this every time. Oh my God, really? Major League Baseball streaks, good. Guardians are playing very well. I think they've won 6 in a row now. They pulled within 5 of the Tigers, playing really well. Mariners, 6 straight, as I said earlier, have pulled to within a half a game of the Astros, who weren't playing bad baseball. Mariners, I told you, Mariners were one of those teams I loved at the beginning of the year, and I love them more. They had a really good start to the season. They had a lull. They had some injuries to their pitching staff. I love even though Naylor's hurt right now, I love the additions that they made at the trade deadline, and I think their frontline pitching is getting healthy, and they will be very tough down the stretch and come playoff time. Brewers have been playing great for months now, but the Brewers, and I talked about it on the MLB update, and somebody, I can't remember, pointed out, I didn't remember like a series they won in 2011, because they haven't won many playoff series since they went to the World Series in 1982. The Mets are, listen, I talk about the Yankees sliding, which they still are. Yesterday they won, but they had lost Friday night to the Astros. More bad baseball. Actually, I don't know. Did Stanton play the outfield yesterday? Because I didn't see the game and I didn't look at the box score. Bad. I mean, this is pretty easy. We could just throw the White Sox and the Rockies in here every week. Now, the Rockies are, and if they lost the last 2 days, they're likely back on 121 loss pace. I can't do the math. I don't have my computer in front of me or my calculator. But if you take 162 games and multiply it by their winning percentage, you will see that they're probably on a pace for 121 losses, I would guess, because it was 120 on Friday. And the Mets are just a mess, as Drew points out in the way he puts their names. So, what do you got here? NFL division. I gotta make sure these go up. NFL Central, NL Central division with 4 out of 5 teams at 500 or better. How come I can't get the new comments? Where did my new comments go? Am I missing comments here, guys? Oh, yeah, there's more here. Why are they doing that? Your frozen puss on my screen was terrifying. I'm sure it was. I was sitting there and listen, it's not that hot out here, but my iPad just shut right down. So we quickly went to the phone. So you can see how quickly I can adjust and move on. I can imagine that was terrifying, though, Drew. It's terrifying for me. I see it every morning in the mirror. It seems your remote. Well, it depends. It depends. If I find a good spot and I'm inside, if I try to do it outside, we had some problems, if you remember. I think you remember one of the last couple cruises trying to do an MLB update from my balcony, and it got hot out there just like it did here. It's not that hot, but it is directly it was sitting directly in the sun. So what can you do? It's either do the remotes and make it work or skip the shows, and I don't want to do that. I like doing the shows. As long as the coffee is good where you are, and you have a good supply, that's all that matters, other than your stream. Well, at my age, the stream is important as well. I'll let you guys decipher that. The coffee's very good, by the way. It's funny because they don't drink coffee. We brought our own Keurig cups because somebody had given Eric a Kirk. They don't drink coffee, but somebody gave him a Kirk, and he took it because he knew whenever we come down, we'll need coffee, and we'd have to go out otherwise. So thank him. We thank him for that. Only MLB games with 100-run differentials are the Brewers and the Cubbies. Sometimes again, that stat, while it's a good stat, I mean, it can be misleading because teams that win a lot of close games, which, by the way, is to me a hallmark of a really good team winning close games. You're not going to have as great a run differential as somebody else. And a couple of really bad losses can certainly skew your number. But who are these teams? Who are the teams? Brewers and Cubbies. Interesting. First and second in the Central. What do you got here, Rick? The debate question about Travis Hunter winning Rookie of the Year on offense and defense made me laugh. His attempt to tackle looked like he learned from Deion. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I get that, and it's certainly part of the game, tackling for most players, but I would say that Travis Hunter probably is not a complete quarterback, but you could say the same thing about Deion, but Deion's one of the great cover quarterbacks of all time. I don't think we can take that away from him, but I don't think you would call him one of the greatest defensive players because of the fact that he wasn't complete. And if Travis Hunter doesn't get better at that part of the game, he'll be viewed the same way. And here's the thing. If he's going to play both ways, and I don't see him. What did he play yesterday? Well, he played the first possession. Had 2 catches. I think one was called back. He had 3 catches and one got called back. Travis Hunter is a tremendous athlete. I do think Travis Hunter may become a better tackler, Rick, and it might depend on how much the Jaguars want to depend on him on offense. Because they may very well tell him, don't go out there and get yourself hurt on defense. Which I'm not saying is the right thing to do, by the way. Stanton did play right field yesterday. Was taken out in the 7th. Listen, he's got to get out for defense. This guy can't even run the bases. He hasn't played the outfield since 2003. He wasn't any good when he was playing in 2003. There was a time where Stanton was a decent outfielder back in his Marlins days, but those days are long gone. And, you've got to worry about injuries out there with him getting hurt. And you've also got to worry about the defense being horrendous. Because, Mike Bellinger's the only Trent Grisham's overrated, but he needs to be in the outfield every day. Bellinger's a really good outfielder. He can play all 3 positions, but not all at once. Dominguez is awful. The Yankees have got some problems that have not been solved. But we'll see. If he plays out, here's the thing. Stanton's going to sit the bench or play the outfield because I'm not confident Judge is going to play any games in right field the rest of the year. I mean, maybe you'll see, they're talking about playing him from time to time, but if the injury is what we think it is, you're risking losing him altogether if you put him in the outfield. And this further hurts the Yankees' chances. Good morning, Matt. Good to have you with us, Matt. Matt, I'll give some kudos too because Matt had said he was going to send me some cards, and I have to tell you, he outdid himself. I wasn't expecting what I got. Somehow, either Matt's paying very close attention to my shows because he sent me all Patriots. He sent me a Joe Namath card. I wonder if that was because of my little spat with John Gonzalez, but I got a really good Joe Namath card. But other than that, it was all Patriots and Yankees, and he somehow got like all my favorite players in there. Drew Bledsoe's in there. Irving Fryer's in there. Tommy's in there. Who else was on the Patriots side? I feel like there might have been 1 or 2 other ones. On the Yankees, my all-time favorite, Bobby Mercer. Greg Nettles is there. Munson, Horace Clark, the Mick, Yogi, Whitey. Oh, thank you so much, Matt. You did a great job, and I appreciate that so much. You have no idea. I'm deciding what I'm going to do with them now. I'm thinking about in my office putting it into a collage or a couple of collages and putting them up with some other stuff I have in my office. So thank you so much for that. A man of his word and good stuff. What's Anthony got here? Anthony says, my thing is take away the comments for all sports and add 2 or 3. Oh, cameras. Sorry, I'm on my phone. It's getting harder to read the comments. Take away the camera for all sports and add 2 or 3 more refs. I'm happy with that. How about teach the refs to actually be good? It's kind of like my argument with all the rule changes in baseball or any sports, right? That are made to cover up the fact that we don't play the game correctly, that players don't know how to hit to the opposite field and away from where a shift might be. So we eliminate the shift. They can't steal bases or won't steal bases. But we'll let them steal or learn how to actually be base stealers, right? And the mechanics involved with that. But we'll let them take advantage of their pure speed because we'll shorten the base pass by making the bases bigger. And we'll also let the pitchers only throw over there 2 times. I'm reading a book now about the 60s Dodgers and the fact that Maury Wills would get in pitchers' heads, and some of them would throw over there 8, 9 times. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that because he'd be running on the next pitch. They'd throw wild pitches. They'd walk guys. I mean, yes, you get more steals now today than you had in a while, but it's a manufactured freaking improvement, cosmetically done. I agree with you. Either teach the refs to be better at what they do or add refs. Do whatever you have to do. I don't need artificial intelligence, calling baseball games. I just don't need it. What do you got here, Chris? Interesting how some power hitting players have struggled when taken out of the field and used strictly as a DH. That's a real thing for sure. A few names from the past. Adam Dunn. Is that Adam Dunn? Adam Dunn, again, he was a competent first baseman, not a very good outfielder. Again, some of these guys have to do it. Sammy was a decent defensive player until he got to be so huge that he couldn't bend over and get the ball. And the way George Bell, I think George Bell was early in his career. He became a DH, if I'm not mistaken. Fairly early. But you're right. I mean, the numbers show. I just lost where I was. And if I miss a comment, please, guys, put it back up. I'm not skipping you. It's just harder to see it on my phone. What was I going to say? Well, I'm not arguing the fact either that some of these players do play better when they're involved in the entire game. But if you're not good enough, here you got to make yourself better defensively, and that won't happen. I mean, again, the numbers, and Jack Hirsch has always had this argument that, first of all, he would say that Stanton was a competent outfielder, which is really kind of a stretch, by the way. And that his numbers show that he hits better when he plays the field. I don't doubt that, not for a second. But if you're not capable of being, a decent outfielder, and you're going to hurt the team out there, then I don't want you. Sorry, I don't care if you're riding the bench. Yeah, I have no problem dumping guys for that. Where am I here? I think I'm on Drew. In the modern era, the 1933 Red Sox hold the MLB record for negative run differential. The Rockies are presently at 322. Nice, another record that the Rockies can chase. They got it. And by the way, what's there, 40 plus games left? So they got to get what, 50? Oh no, 27 more. That's going to happen without a doubt. That's easily going to happen. Good catch, Drew. Michael, I've been getting some training. Oh, I'm not showing that. I've been getting some training for the fantasy league, doing some mock drafts. Good idea. Did I hear correctly that the league is only drafting defense players and not offense? No, that's not correct. If you look at the settings, if you go into the settings and look at league settings, I think inside there, you'll see all the positions that are drafted, and every position on offense is drafted, along with bench players and then defensive players as well. If I'm reading your so yeah, you might have seen. I know CA goes in and adjusts the settings sometimes. So no, don't get confused. It's basically the same as what we mentioned. And again, you can see all the positions, Michael. And again, if I remember, I'm trying to visualize it in my head, and I explained it to Alicia Pulver for her dad, Billy. But if you go into settings, and I think once you hit settings, you're going to get an option for league settings. And if you scroll there, you'll see, I think, I think you'll get the all the positions and the scoring for each type of play, right? How rushing yards are accumulated and points are accumulated there. Same with receiving, points per reception, touchdowns, etc., interceptions, tackles. It's good that you're doing the mock drafts, but make sure you're doing them. And again, it's a little hard, I know, because the mock drafts I've seen only go to 14 teams, but at least it gives you an idea of, how deep this will be. And, some of the guys you're going to have to draft near the end of this draft. So, but it also gives you an idea of how the defense works too, because it should be, if you do a mock draft based off our league settings, you should be drafting offense and defensive players. And you might have just gone to a draft that drafted defensive players for whatever reason. I don't know. I can't tell what that is, but thank you, CA. Oops. How do I get out of here? This is so hard on my phone. Drew, I agree. Dart. Oops, that's not it. Hold on. I got the wrong comment. Well, let me put this up. I'll go back to your comment in a second, Drew. I mentioned on Messenger your favorite. Maybe I did. And thank you for the kind words, and thank you for the cards. They're kind of cool. I thought it was Drew. I saw this. It's Michael. Sorry, Michael. I agree. Dart will be a good quarterback. Sorry, late with that, but don't worry about it. We jump around. That's why it's a stream of consciousness here. It's harder with my show for Jack to explain to you guys again the difference between this show and the show I do with Jack on Mondays and Friday mornings. With him, with a co-host. You guys are my co-hosts on all my other shows, and it's not as hard to kind of jump back and forth because it's just me. But Jack gets into a mode, and I try not to take him backwards once we moved on from a topic. So, and I've tried to explain to him also the delays sometimes make me have to do that. So, but there's no problem jumping around here. I think Dart's going to be, a tremendous player at myself. And it could be as soon as this year. What's Drew got here? These are very hard for me to read, Drew. So, Schwarber for NL MVP. Quietly's had a great year. 41, 95, 10 stolen bases, 253 batting average, by the way, is a big deal for him. You forgot to mention his strikeouts here, but I guess that would not be a plus for his MVP candidacy. But nobody holds strikeouts against guys anyway. What do you got here? TGI Sports Talk Fantasy Football League does have offensive players, however, no team defense. Defensive positions is a better option. I agree. It's also it also makes you work harder and go deeper. Yes, it is a bit more to keep up with, but defense is important too. I agree 100%. That's why I was okay with I didn't put that up there, but there it is. That's great. CA, you've done a great job, and we have got, as I said, I think 16 guys who we're going to be able to hold accountable, and I like that. I don't think we have to hold anybody accountable, by the way. I think we're going to have 16 guys who are going to be more than happy to what am I trying to say? Lost my train of thought. To have that competitive edge and want to get bragging rights here. Paul Spada, by the way, I got 3 other teams that all have money involved, and so it's going to be very, very busy winter for Keith. So it's a good thing I'm retiring, so I got more time to do this stuff. Paul Spada loves taking the shift out of baseball. He likes no strategy. Well, I'm not going to answer for you, Paul, but I'll answer for me. It's a stupid rule. That's all I can tell you. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, Paul, and if you think that makes baseball better, God bless you. Me, I just as soon teach guys how to hit where guys aren't standing, which is kind of the way baseball is supposed to be taught and how it's supposed to be played. And it's why we don't have fundamentally sound players today and guys who, there's a thing called situational hitting, and nobody knows how to do it. We just hit into shifts, try to hit over them, try to hit through them. Oh, what do you got here, Michael? Um, would make it better regarding cameras and a ref decision to have all calls going upstairs and not having coaches throw the red flag. Um, would it make it? I don't know. It would slow the game down, I'm afraid, because what happens, every team in that case, well, I guess college does it that way. There's no coaches' challenges, right? And theoretically, every play is under review. And the thing is, what happens is teams obviously try to get up and run another play. But then as soon as the referees see that and they know somebody's looking at the play, they blow the whistle. And I really think that's one of the reasons the college game slows to a crawl sometimes, especially late in the games. But again, they're also reviewing targeting hits and all this other stuff too. Um, so I don't know. I am for maybe, maybe there should still be a challenge, but then it goes directly to New York. We don't make the decision, just like baseball does. I believe the decision's all made, you know, outside of the guys on the field. So, oh, getting hot out here. I'll, I'll put it up. I was going to save you for this one, Paul, but I'll put it up just for Danny's sake. Oh, what's this one? Oh, it's so hard to read these things now. Nick LaDosha has joined Valdez on as the only pitchers to have two complete games. God, all this does is freaking like tick me off when I see these numbers. It really does. I can't even say, is that impressive? No, it's indicative of how awful the game of baseball is being taught and how it's being played today. Absolutely, I'll put your comment up here, CA, and I've talked with a couple people individually, like Michael and like Billy Pulver. If you're new to the league, go review the settings so you aren't surprised. I don't think you can. And again, just to reiterate, I've had people ask me what their draft position is. It's automatically generated by Yahoo, and I think it's not even generated until the draft room's open, right? So an hour or something before the draft. That's when you'll know your draft position. You can correct me if I'm wrong. CA. Michael, the mock draft I did was individual offense players and just a team defense, but it's still giving me the idea. That's a good thing to do, even if that's the case. I think you can change the settings on those mock drafts to more mirror the league that you're in, or maybe you've got to find one that drafts individual defensive guys. That's what'll help you for sure. And Michael says, thanks to CA or Excalibur, however you'd like to kind of review that. How come I can't get this out of here? What'd I do? There we go. Drew, NFL free agents still available. Amari Cooper, he'll sign somewhere. And these guys will sign probably, during the season or the end of training camp. As injuries start to pile up, you'll see a lot of these guys. Cooper, I would expect back in the league. Not sure about Samuel. Gilmore starting to get up there. I did hear the Vikings were interested in bringing him back, though. Clowney is probably done. Gabe Davis will find a job, I think, as well. So hard here. I feel like I got new comments, but I can't get to them. How come? Oh, CA, somehow I banned you. I don't know how. Oh, jeez, what'd I do? Well, CA, If I banned you, it wasn't on purpose, I promise you. This is what you do when you can't see a damn thing you're doing. Well, I think we're going to call it a day here today because I'm having a lot of trouble reading the comments, keeping up with the comments. Let me just back this up again. Is Drew's the last one that I see? And I got to get in here and see what I did to poor CA. CA, don't take offense if I banned you. It wasn't on purpose. What's Rick saying here? Don't let the system draft for you. No, bad idea. Very bad idea. That's always going to take like the best player available, and you're going to end up with like 7 running backs. The defensive players that are out in the league injured, it is terrible because, again, even if you rank your players and your player's not available, it's going to take the next best player available, and it may not be a position you even need. You'll end up with 5 quarterbacks and no tight ends and no linebackers, and so that's a good call, Rick. I suggest we ban Paul Spada. Paul, you're taking it tough today. Where are you, my friend? Drew says probably a good decision to bail. You missed a few comments, and you'll need to eat a ton of carrots. Get some, like, putting it up there. I don't think I missed that many. It didn't look like I did, and it could be because of my phone. I don't know. But my apologies, guys. I think we're gonna end the show early today. But it's been fun. I think what time is it anyway? How early am I? We're getting it really early, but Danny's. I know you're kidding, Danny. We know what's going on there. I was looking back though. I didn't see any comments I banned, and now I got to figure out how I banned CA and how do I unban them. I'm sure I can do it. CA, I apologize 100%. So if you're still trying to comment, I apologize. We'll get you back in there for the next show. What you got here? Thanks for the time and effort. Yep, we'll talk to you next week or whenever we see you, Drew. Remember, guys, we'll be live tomorrow with the Jack and Keith weekend playbook. Jack's off this week, so I'll be doing Monday and Friday solo, 8 a.m. Eastern. Please tune in and bring your comments, and we'll put the link in. Maybe even a couple of you guys want to come in and chat a little bit while you're there. Let me make sure I get this up here. So Danny's comment is seen by Paul that he's one of the most competitive guys out there, and I believe that 100%. I think everybody we have in the league is going to be very competitive this year, and I'm really looking forward to it. So anyway, I apologize for the iPad freezing up. I apologize for any comments I might have missed. And CA, I apologize profusely for banning you when I don't even know how I did it. Probably because I can barely see what's going on here, and it's causing a problem. So we're gonna wrap it up early, and we'll see you guys on Okay, bye bye.